Dandavat Pranam to everyone. So that's quite a few people today in our English Zoom. Yesterday we had a wonderful day. Ekadashi, Pandava Ekadashi, one of the best Ekadashi in the year. And we spoke a little bit yesterday in Russian about Pandava Ekadashi, and today, also yesterday, there was two important days. One is Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura disappearance, and one is Gangamata Gosvamini. So actually, I'd like to say a few words about Gangamata Gosvamini and Visvanath Chakravarti, because they're two exalted devotees in our Sampradaya. However, we don't know that many women that had position of guru. And, you know, in modern day, there's a debate going on, can women be a guru? Or, she cannot be guru. Well, according to Sridhar Maharaj, Acharya of the mat must be sannyasi. Just like ideally Pujari must be a man and brahmacharya. So if you go to India, you'll see in Gaudiya Mat, ideal Pujari is a man and brahmachari. However, Srila Prabhupada introduced, puja to women, and, women doing wonderful service to the deities, dressing up, doing puja. And of course, in the home state, in a family, women can always worship the deity. Although it's normally been in Vedic culture done by men, specifically Brahmana. So, non-Brahmana normally in India would not worship the deity. However, there's always exception. And of course, we follow the path of Raga Marga, the path of spontaneous heart. So we know that our line is pretty much connected with path of spontaneous service. And interestingly, all our gurus in spiritual world, they're all women, like all of them females. And not only females, they're unique manjaris and assistants of Radharani. So when Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura once were threatened by local brahmanas, and they tried to beat him or even kill him, he ran to the garden and they were following him, looking for him. So they found one girl picking flower, and they said, "Have you ever seen that Baba Vishwanath?" And that girl said, "Yeah, he's somewhere there." But then some people saw this Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura taking form of divine manjari and showing his spiritual Siddha Dehi, spiritual transcendental body. However, externally, Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura never show any female nature on external plane. So externally, he kept as a male. Internally, he was a spiritual divine female, Manjari Gopi. And when Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura came to Vrindavan, at that time, Vrindavan was destroyed by Aurangzeb. Vrindavan, many temples were broken. The deities of Govindaji and other deities flee to Jaipur and Rajasthan. So technically, Vrindavan was completely destroyed. And some devotees had no hope. They were like hopeless. And so when he came to Vrindavan, he started re-getting community of Vaishnavas. He started writing books. He started putting together commentaries on the Bhagavad, because he felt necessity of explaining people what is the proper Krishna consciousness. However, it was not easy at that time. There was many sahajas, people who would think, well, Krishna consciousness, you have to think and behave like a Gopi Manjari, because it's all been written in the books of Goswamis, but it was completely misunderstood, completely misrepresented. And it's actually was taken in the wrong direction to extreme. So Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura, who's somebody is very qualified from his childhood. He was born in Chakravarti family. Chakravarti means Brahmana Pandit family, and he had two brothers. But out of his family, he's showing extreme skills of Krishna consciousness. And then, also before he went to Vrindavan, he had very high level education. So since his childhood, he performed Krishna bhajan, chanted Krishna Nam, studied scriptures. And his two other gurus were also Chakravartis. So his direct guru was Radharaman Chakravarti, who was disciple of another Chakravarti Thakura. And they all were brilliant scholars in the line of Vedic Brahminical culture, but all, qualified in Mahaprabhu. So it's very interesting. So when he came to Vrindavan, he done incredible service, and someone like Baladev Vibhushan became his prominent disciple. So he knew what is internal spiritual bhajan, and he knew what the bhav of Manjari. However, externally, we see that most of our teachers come as a male nature. So now we're not going to compare us, because when we start comparing, we're not on that level. None of us on that level. But we're trying to spread Krishna consciousness. So when we're doing very generic work, spreading Krishna consciousness, everybody can spread. The child, women, an old man, family man, anybody can preach. That's not the question. But when we're talking about who's going to hold our line, that is another story. Because, female lady, she can be a preacher. And up to a certain point, maybe even can be, a guru. But when we're talking about guru, we're talking about Diksha. And Diksha mantra means Gayatri. So women normally don't chant Gayatri mantra, but they chant other mantras like Gopal mantra and other mantra. So that means female guru, she cannot initiate man, and she cannot give sannyas. But, she can give Harinam, and she can give maybe some other mantra like, besides the Gayatri mantra. So that means by certain principles of Vedas, she has some limitations. However, when we all thinking about female nature, which is love, submissiveness, self-sacrifice, that this divine female nature we totally worship, because we don't really worship Krishna, we worship Radharani. So from one point of view, we can understand we are worshippers of Shakti, just like the tantrics. But the tantrics, when they worship Shakti, they want to enjoy with Shakti. Not many people understand what is the tantric worship. Tantric worship is to achieve union with Shakti and to become Shiva. But in Vaishnava tantric way, we don't try to achieve position of Krishna, and we're not trying to enjoy Radharani. In fact, we understand that Ravana, who've been trying to enjoy Radharani, Sita, he was a demon. So our idea is like, hey, if I just want to, achieve position of God, then I can enjoy goddess. This is very low level of mundane exploitation. It's not even, part of our nature. It's basically we can, dedicate our very thin lust, very, very subtle lust, like, hey, like Ravana, I want to enjoy Sita. Ravana had so many women, so many wealth, but he wants to enjoy the goddess. And he wants this goddess to love him. So, so the idea is that we will take position of Shiva and worship Shakti and enjoy Shakti. It's not a Vaishnava idea. It's opposite Vaishnavism. That's why we don't accept the tantric, so-called tantric, actually. It's demonic way. It's demonic way. It's non-harmonious way. Because, Gurudev was the one asked, why the tantrics are wrong? And Gurudev said, well, because Parvati or Shakti, she's our mother. And we're not trying to imply our, erotic feelings to our mother. Our mother is beyond that understanding. She's worshipable. So if we do that, that is wrong. Not wrong, it's unharmonious, unhealthy. So therefore, we need to understand an external plane. Females, women had super big position in Gaudiya Sampradaya. Like Gangamata Gosvamini, she was like a princess, Shachi. And she went to Vrindavan and she proved that she can take initiation and she can do the sadhu life. And she did better than most sadhus. So when the sadhu saw, oh, this girl, she's very austere. She's, she's not like a princess. She doesn't live a princess life. She lived like a hardcore life of renunciate person. Then she was initiated and she was blessed to study the Bhagavad. So she came to Puri and stayed in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya place. And she read the Bhagavad. And as she read the Bhagavad, nobody took her seriously because she was like female, and Jagannath Puri is a very conservative place. But when she revealed her divine pastimes, one time she wants to go to Ganga Sagar to bathe in Ganga, and Jagannath himself said, you don't need to come to Ganga, I will reveal himself, reveal the Ganga. So they say to Ganga is there, this lake, in that lake, the Ganga was revealed. And Gangamata Gosvamini, that was her name, Gangamata Gosvamini, she had direct darshan of Lord Jagannath. And she was told by Lord Jagannath, you come to this particular place. And she came to that Ganga mother, she came to that Ganga god, she took divine bath in Ganga. And after that, the spiritual portal opened and she saw Jagannath as, his direct expansion, Sakshat himself. So when people heard some water sound in a temple, they ran, the guards, they ran, and because the temple was closed, but they heard water, they heard some sound. So they thought maybe somebody trying to break the temple or something, could break the door. So the guards came and they heard sound, they opened the door and they saw Gangamata sitting inside Jagannath Mandir. And they said, how did you claim into this temple? How did you claim through the door? They couldn't give themselves any other answer. They just want to arrest her. And that time when Gangamata were arrested and thrown to jail, the king and pujaris, they saw a dream. Jagannath said, hey, you are disturbing my very dear devotee. You are arresting my very dear devotee. So then finally they realized that this woman been arrested for breaking into the temple, but actually she's a mystic bhakti yogini, and she is a great soul. So finally the king, to apologize, took initiation from her. And king said, I will feed prasadam to your ashram every day, Jagannath prasadam, because you are so great. So that was the history of, Gangamata Goswamini. So basically she came from Vrindavan to preach Bhagavatam, but she also revealed her extraordinary divine pastimes. And she displayed her incredible devotion. And even the king and some other highest, principles of Puri, such as the priests and great devotees, they all recognize her. So there's no problem for a devotee to recognize women in spiritual position. In fact, in our mission of Chaitanya Saraswati Math, our mission is exclusively been, run by women. Thailand, Siberia, part of Ukraine, even Narayani, she's an organizer. So we don't deny that, we don't like women to run things and administrate things. No, we actually recognize that. But we also understand that women has different nature, like a mother. Mother, she's accommodating child, but she's not like acting like a father. She's not like spiritual transgender. She's not trying to, replace the father. No, mother has its own special qualities. Therefore, mother is worshipable. And therefore, in Indian tradition, mother has no rights. When father dying, the property goes to the son. And some people say, well, that's actually devoiding all the rights to the women. But actually, Sridhar Maharaj explained, he said, no, you don't understand. Mother is like sacred cow, is worshipable. You can't put mother accountable for anything. She is sacred, she's divine. So mother is by definition has position and own everything. But as a property carrier or treasure carrier or mundane style carrier, the property goes to the son, not going to the mother. But mother is not to neglect, and mother is highly recognized, just like sacred cow as well. It's called mother cow, it's not called father cow. You know, we're not talking about father cow, bull, we're talking about mother cow. Why? Because mother cow provide the milk. It also says in Vedas, the guru is the father, the mantra is the mother. Yeah, without father cannot be child, but without mother, child cannot be nourished, cannot be born. Because why mother considered to be mantra? Because, you know, guru's giving initiations one time, but the mother, the mantra is nourish child every day, every time we chant. So it's so beautiful. Then the mantra itself considered to be a mother, and guru considered to be a father. Because, you know, guru give us divine sound, he may give us instruction, but, you know, the mantra itself has power to cleanse our heart and nourish. So when we chant the mantra is giving us food to our soul. That's why we can see all these great, you know, females. Yeah, they always were spreading the glories of Krishna, and they always spreading Harina. So in this case, they all recognized by Narottam Das Thakur and other Sampradayika leaders, like Jhanavi Mata, Mata Ganga Gosvamini, and actually much, much more, because we don't really, unfortunately, know the history of Vaishnavism. We don't know how many great female Vaishnavis were there. And we know they were always very submissive, very faithful, very humble, but they never want to, you know, they never went to self-promotion, actually. And there's an important part for us to understand. It says in scriptures, you should hide your spiritual property. You should hide your treasure. So there are many devotees would be in Vrindavan or Navadvip, like Jagannath Das Babaji, Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. If you come to them, they will tell you like, I don't have any spiritual life. No, I cannot chant. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, don't visit me. I'm not the guy you think I am. I'm a very fallen soul. You don't understand. I don't follow any spiritual principle. You know, and some people would be like, hey, it sounds like this guy is not a spiritual guy. Let me go see the Sahaja Guru, who seed like a great guru, talk like a great guru. But actually, it's the treasure of Krishna consciousness that you're supposed to hide. So all the great Vaishnavas, they would hide the treasure of Krishna consciousness. But if they would see somebody inquire sincerely, they would reveal. Otherwise, they would never oppose, I'm a very spiritual person, I have very high qualification, I look like a divine person, I look like a Baba. No, you know, that's an external look. So real great devotee, they never go external, they're always hiding. So you probably will not recognize a real devotee but if real devotee will talk to you, then maybe you can recognize, because you know, you recognize by speech, by the mood, by everything. But you have to be in a position that devotee will pour mercy at you. That's why, see, like especially in America, it's the country about self-promotion. You need to sell yourself. And in spiritual life, it's about promoting Krishna and Vaishnavas and Guru. It's a completely different culture. So it's not about self-promotion. It's about promotion of Krishna consciousness. But once you promotion of Krishna consciousness, you will be promoted. Like, simple example. I never thought I want to be like a guru or any kind of spiritual guy. But when I met my guru, and my guru told me, like, you're not going to share this with others. And I thought, yeah, how can I not share this with others? These are the most amazing thing I ever got connection with. How can I be able not to share this with others, just hide it for myself? But if I'm an association of materially inclined people who have no interest to appreciate Krishna consciousness, maybe even offend certain spiritual things. Remember, what we're trying to do is we're trying to stay away from Vaishnava aparat. So if somebody who's not qualified to hear about Krishna will be hearing certain things, he may commit Vaishnava aparat. So we have to be very careful not to do that. That's why one of our way to give Krishna consciousness to everyone, we're going on the street and we're chanting Hare Krishna. But we're not chanting to that specific person or that specific person. We're chanting in association of devotees. We're trying to glorify Supreme Lord. But it's accidentally connecting with people. And you can see when we chant Hare Krishna, different people have different reactions. Some people say like, oh my God, Lord Jesus, what's going on? Or somebody, cool people. Everybody has different reaction to holy name. But sometimes you can see some people would connect, stand, and they would resonate. So it's depending how much sukriti, how much faith someone has. We're chanting that Krishna name, but according how much faith you have, how much belief you have, how much sukriti you have, you will receive that. So this is very safe position for us. And interestingly, it says, chanting name of Krishna is so auspicious that even liberated souls in spiritual world, they do chant name of Krishna. Like Radharani chant name of Krishna, Nanda Baba chant, Yashoda Maya, everybody chanting name of Krishna in Vrindavan. They may see Krishna certain part of the day, when they feed Krishna or they play with Krishna, but most of the time they just remember his name. So it's not like, oh, chanting name of Krishna is something, we will have, and then we're not going to need it anymore. Like, for instance, Gayatri Mantra. We know that Gayatri Mantra is divine sound flute of Krishna. And that divine sound is coming from spiritual world. So it says that Gayatri Mantra, as it is, as we chant right now, that mantra will only lead us towards mukti, liberation. After that, the Gayatri Mantra, the Brahma Gayatri Mantra, will vanish. But we're also chanting other mantras, Guru Mantra, Guru Mantra, and we also have Gopal Mantra, etc., Kama Gayatri, etc. So those mantras will remain, meaning will be different, but name of Krishna, like Gopal Mantra, is very, very powerful mantra. I'm not supposed to pronounce that mantra, but for those who understand Klim Krishna, that mantra is called Gopal Mantra. And actually it is super powerful mantra to give Madhurya Rasa and love. But interesting that every mantra has to become mature, it has to bear the fruits. So if we chant this mantra with offense improperly, it will not give the result. So for us, it's important to chant, but the quality that we chant are not so powerful, not giving so a result that we needed. But in the course of time, when our polluted consciousness will be purified, and we will get special blessings of devotees, and we will get special, position in the world of service, then our mantra our chanting will bear the fruit, will get the power. But right now, our chanting at very, very beginning stage, Chaita Dvarpana Marjana, we're very neophyte stage. And, nothing wrong with that, because you got to start somewhere. So maybe millions of lives, God knows, maybe in this life. But it's all depending how much we'll give ourselves to spiritual practice. It's not a common thing. That's why when you look at the Gangamata, Gosvamini, or other great saints, they wouldn't just give you initiation like that. They would test you. They would see if you qualified. And, I spoke with one very nice lady, and she has a father, and he's like in his 80s. And I said, well, you see, your father, I would easily give initiation. She said, like, why? I said, because he's in his 80s. He's like his last stage of his life. And he's a faithful person. He believes in Krishna on some level. So someone like him, you need to help elder people. You need to help other people. You need to provide service for him. But, somebody who is arrogant and looking for around, you don't give him initiation right away. You let him go, develop faith, understand, look some other teachers, feel who you want to be connected with. And then at the same time, you're not just trying to give him initiations for nothing. You don't do that. It's offensive. You only give initiations to people who's willing to serve. Like the mantra, you have to serve the holy name. You have to serve the deities. You have to serve the Vaishnavas. So when we're preparing to take initiation, it's not something, hey, I need initiation. It's like, I'm preparing to give my life for the service. It's an interesting story about Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura. He married, but he never had sex with his wife. And, in Indian tradition, they marry you at an early age, maybe age of like 10 or 12. But it doesn't mean that you are, have exchange with your wife. You might be formally married and she live in husband or the parents' house, but you're considered to be already married. Okay, they're, this boy and this girl, they'll be married. But at a certain point, when people get more physically mature and they, join the family, which means children, etc. So they have to have some sexual exchange. So Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura, he wants to go to Vrindavan. And his guru told him, how you want to go to Vrindavan? You're a married man. He said, yes, I'm a married man, but I really never had any connection with my wife. Then his guru said, then even worse. You never had connections with women. You never had sexual exchange. And you don't even know what it is. So maybe you like it and you stay. Then you have to go try. Then Visvanath Chakravarti, then his guru said that you have to spend time with your wife, night with your wife. And Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura was very, very pure Brahmana, Vaishnava, and his wife was also very pure. So then he came to see his wife. Then the wife was in the room, and Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura sit down in the bed, and he starts speaking with his wife. And from evening till morning, he spoke to her Harikatha, and they were speaking about Krishna. And they chant together. They had like kirtan. So the morning time, Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura gave dandavat to his wife and came out to see his guru. So his guru said, his guru was Radharaman Chakravarti. He said, so have you had exchange with your wife? He said, yes, we had a very nice exchange. Like, yeah, we spoke about Bhagavad all night and, we chant together. She was very happy. And, she finally approved my renunciation. She understood I have any physical, any material connection. And that's very, very powerful thing, because sexual feeling is very, strong feeling. It's very difficult to overcome sexual feeling. And that's what's holding us in this material world, our sexuality, because it's part of our material nature. And not just part of our material nature, it's the dominative part of our material nature. That's why we see man, male, female. In the Bhagavad, when Vedavyas pass after Shukadev Goswami, and a bunch of girls were bathing in the river, they didn't cover their body in front of Shukadev Goswami. But when Vedavyas came, they covered the body in front of Vedavyas. And Vedavyas said, I was following that boy, and that boy is very beautiful. You're not covering body in front of that boy, but why are you covering body in front of me? I'm an old guy. And these girls, they said, well, this boy has no material nature. He doesn't resonate as a male or female. He's just a divine soul. And you still have your male identity. So therefore, we felt shy in front of you, but we haven't felt shy in front of this boy. Like, for instance, if you're naked and the deer come or a bird come, you're not going to shy in front of bird, because it's bird. It's like, it's not my. But if the tourists come with a camera, like, great women, she cover herself and she feel like, no, I want to be naked in front of you. So very simply, that Visvanath Chakravarti, he was like Shukadev Goswami. He had that divine nature. Even his own wife, with connection to him, she felt Krishna consciousness. So, they spoke about Krishna. They had very deep exchange. And, in that deep exchange, she understood, yes, my husband is not, not somebody who will live family life. Then Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura were allowed to go to Vrindavan and stay in Vrindavan. Therefore, it says in scripture, so if we're planning to come to Vrindavan, that we cannot come to Vrindavan with our mundane mindset. We have to come to Vrindavan for the service. So some people, pious people in India, they, buy a little flat in Vrindavan, a little apartment. Like, I have a friend of mine, Manoj. He's the director of Dr. Rao Astrological School. And Dr. Rao is still alive, but he lives somewhere in South India. He's already maybe 100. Dr. Rao, he was going to take sannyas from Govinda Maharaj. He actually wanted to take sannyas. But for some reason, it didn't work out for him. Maybe not in this life. But he's a very renowned guy. He's like a brahmachari. And it's amazing that in India, I met some people who, like, professor of university and very knowledgeable people. And I said, what's your position? And they said, like, oh, I'm life celibate brahmachari. Oh, you're life celibate brahmachari? You're like great sadhu? No, I'm not great sadhu. I'm just, I'm just teaching Sanskrit and Vedas with the students. But that's my position. I like the Sanskrit. I like the Vedas so much. And I took long life celibacy, and this is okay for me. I'm happier. Then I thought, India is an amazing country. Like, you don't find that many people like that in the West. But in India, you'll get some people who, lifelong brahmachari. But again, that's not a condition to become a devotee only. So I figured these people, lifelong brahmachari, they know Sanskrit, they know the Vedas, they know the philosophy. But I asked that man, do you have guru? He said, oh, yeah, I come to see different gurus sometimes. I don't have the guru. So, you dedicate your life celibacy, you dedicate your life for educate others, but you don't feel necessity of guru, or you're not fortunate enough to receive the mercy of Guru. And sometimes it happens like this because you're a very qualified man. But somebody like that old man, the father of one devotee lady, I said, yeah, I said, your father, we can give initiation anytime, no problem. Because he's like, he's an old man. He might be die every day. So he has like no way back. He's sitting there and he's thinking about Krishna. So why not? Why not? Because he needs assistance. He needs help. So it's not like if you're super qualified, then necessarily you can get connection with Guru immediately. Or you're super unqualified, maybe you get connection. See, Krishna consciousnesses work different ways. It could work one way with qualified man. He can wait for a long time and be tested. And for somebody who has no quality and no qualification, maybe it comes very easy as mercy, because it all comes in mercy. Like I felt when I took initiation, I saw my Guru one day. And I said to Pradyumna, oh, if you come next time to America, I should ask him initiation. And Pradyumna asked me, why you have to wait next time? Next time it never happened for you. You come and ask him now. And I thought, is that possible if I can see my Guru one day only, to get connection? But like sometimes there's story like fall in love from first moment. Sometimes like men and women, they meet and they fall in love and they never, disunite. And they said, how much you knew your wife or, beloved before you were connect? And they said like 1 minute, or from first glimpse, I saw her and I felt something in my heart. So my life was like that. I met Srila Govinda Maharaj and I understood this is some divine opportunity for me. And this person, everything about this person has complete resonate my heart. So, but Govinda Maharaj didn't know who I am. He didn't know what is my qualification. So I came to him in the morning. I said, Maharaj, I'm very happy to meet you. Before in the lecture, I asked him, Gurudev, some questions. He gave me very nice answers. And I said, I'm, Russian guy. I'm trying to practice Krishna consciousness. I'm chanting 16 rounds for 1 year. See, already about 1 year we're chanting 16 rounds this call. Gurudev said, 16 rounds? I said, yes, I chant 16 rounds. I'm trying. And no, I said, I'm trying then. And Gurudev said, oh, very nice. And he said, yes, I will give you initiation. And I felt like there's nothing, he doesn't know who I am, but I understand he's a divine, but he's not like, trying to assess me as some kind of qualified guy, even like, he understands. I'm totally, maybe off the ground, and still I am. But, he bestowed his mercy on me, and I believe that mercy is still with me. Of course, over time, I become old, fat, big fat Swami, which is another story. I was very, hard working guy, very slim. I was like very targeted to do some service. And then over time I become, a little transformed. So I think, well, maybe with sannyas was not so good for me, just grow my ego so much at one point. But another point is like, if I would not take sannyas, I would not go and preach and help others. So at one point, maybe, Mahaprabhu, when he went to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he said, why you take sannyas? Because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a great pandit. He knew all the sannyasis. He said, anybody takes sannyas, his ego become puffed up. That's true, actually. Because I've seen so many people, they take sannyas and, you don't recognize them next day. Next day, they're already guru. They're like, because it's very dangerous for ego. So Sarvabhauma said, like, who takes sannyas become crazy and call Namo Narayana, wants to think like he's a god. And Mahaprabhu explained to him, he said, like, yeah, that's right. But he said, I only took sannyas because I couldn't tolerate separation of Krishna. And Mahaprabhu revealed proper purpose. When you give up this world, when you have internal necessity of, tolerating this world, and when you have internal necessity to look for Krishna, then you renounce. So there was one lady, a very nice lady, she chant kirtan, and she's a wife of a very famous actor. They had in their home Prabhupada festival, where we came. It's a nice property, maybe $10 million property or $5 million. I don't know, very expensive here. Crazy prices. They probably bought a long time ago, maybe 20, 30 years. Of course, that time was not that expensive. But it's a nice property with nice flat land in Malibu. Land is very expensive there. But it's enough. It has like several houses and has like a private garden and has outer garden. So in outer garden, we had that little festival and distribute prasadam. It was all very, very nice outdoor. But this lady, she's been around Hare Krishnas maybe for 20 years. And she's not initiated. It's very interesting when you talk about this Hare Krishna people, because they not been with somebody like Govinda Maharaj close. So they have very distant understanding of Krishna consciousness. So she's like, oh, Maharaj, I'm very happy. And she's like, nice, chanting nice kirtan. And she said, like, I'm doing chanting my japa, I'm doing everything, but I'm not initiated. What should I do? Should I take initiation or not? I said, well, it's almost like, when you're going to get married or when you're going to get close connection, only when you feel necessity. If you don't feel necessity, then you don't need to marry. You can just meet your husband or boyfriend, whatever, and have time together. But if you're willing to commit, then you're surrender. So Anna Akhmatova is a very famous Russian poet, female. They asked her, oh, when you become a poet? And she said, well, if you can't do anything else, then become a poet. If you can not become poet, don't become poet. But this is an extreme internal call, then you become a poet. And I thought it's quite interesting because many people are writing pretty good poetry. What makes them different with real poet? And I can tell you. See, a real poet, he's so screwed up, he can only think of poetry. He can't think anything else. Only poetry. That's why you get this people, because that's all that they do. They just totally giving their life into the poetry. Otherwise, you can be a doctor, lawyer, artist, and you can do a little poetry on the weekend, and you can feel great, and you can publish your little poetry. Yeah, because, being poetic, it's a wonderful qualities and skills of every human being. But to be a real poet, that means this is the only thing you do. And being devotee of Krishna means that's only what I do. Yeah, maybe externally I can do this, I can do that, but that is my external thing. Internally, I'm going towards lotus feet of Krishna. And once who's in that deep search, he's looking for a guru. So, somebody will come to me and say, oh, Avadhut Maharaj, should I take initiation from you or should I take initiation from somebody else? I would say, well, I know many people that are way more qualified than me. Like, Madhusudan Maharaj is a great gentleman. Gosvamini Maharaj, he's a really great philosopher. Janardhan Maharaj, other like Ashram Maharaj, they're like, I feel they're way more qualified than me. It's one story. But what is your plan? Like, okay, you might be taking initiation from a very high level devotee, but what is your plan? How are you going to serve him? Like, are you willing to give yourself to transcribe Goswami Maharaj's lectures, or are you willing to, you need to understand what would be your service connection. what is your service connection? Are you coming to serve? And they will tell, well, what's the difference between you and all of these great people? And I will tell them very simple. I say, my life, I met first, second, and third Govinda Maharaj. And I knew Sridhar Maharaj is a very high level philosopher, very high level devotee. And you can understand just by reading his books, he's a very high level soul. But I know one thing, Govinda Maharaj was so merciful, he gave fallen soul like me connection with him. That's why I explained, there's Tirtha Maharaj, he's direct disciple of Sridhar Maharaj. On his little temple and altar, his picture of Sridhar Maharaj. His disciple didn't put picture of Govinda Maharaj. And it's interesting, when Tirtha Maharaj, when Govinda Maharaj were passing away, I said, well, who will be the guru of Chaitanya Saraswati Math? And we said, this Tirtha Maharaj will be guru of Chaitanya Saraswati. And Gurudev was like divine vision. He said, no, he will not be guru of Chaitanya Saraswati Math. He will have his own mission. I was impressed at how Gurudev can see the past and future. And I said, well, he's a very qualified guy. Tirtha Maharaj, very qualified. He's Bengali, a Vaishnava, had sannyas for a long time. Govinda Maharaj gave him sannyas, Sridhar Maharaj gave him to initiation. He's a sannyas guru of Govinda Maharaj. But interestingly, he's from Assam. His family is Vaishnava gurus for hundreds of years. Brahmana Vaishnava gurus. So according to Shastra, it's the best ideal guru. But he didn't stay in Chaitanya Saraswati Math. He opened his own institution because it's small, because he feel competitive with Govinda Maharaj. See, Govinda Maharaj also Vaishnava Brahmana Guru, Tirtha Maharaj Vaishnava Brahmana Guru. So Tirtha Maharaj had competitive feeling. And you know what was main problem with Tirtha Maharaj to Govinda Maharaj? Too much merciful, too much tolerant. But it's so interesting, when Tirtha Maharaj become guru, see, it's like almost you're accusing somebody until you got into his shoes. And like when Govinda Maharaj was asked, like, Gurudev, why are you so tolerant? Because he said, there's no any other way. And like now a little bit I understand that, because sometimes you want this done to be perfect, that done to be perfect, this devotee to be perfect, that devotee to be perfect. But you can understand this is all your mental projections. Reality is different. You can't project reality. You have to accept reality. So Govinda Maharaj, he would accept reality. He also project reality, but his own behavior. But he never criticized and never challenged anyone. That's interesting there. So when people were, hey, why you're not throwing this devotee out, or why are you not telling these people to do like this or to do like that? Govinda Maharaj used to say, yes, I can tell them what would be the proper way, but I know they will not follow. Then I'm not telling them. Then if I tell them as a guru and they will not follow, they will commit offense. But if I don't chastise them, then over time, if they're sincere, Krishna internally will show them the path. So Govinda Maharaj had a very interesting way, almost thinking like Paramahamsa. He wouldn't think I'm the doer. In fact, he would say, as a doctor, if I give them too much medicine and it's too bitter, they will stop the therapy. But in the process of therapy, they will after some time accept that medicine. And what is taste bitter will be accepted by them, because they would see the great result. So as you understand, we're all very new devotees, and we have very, very generic understanding of Krishna consciousness. And sometimes when reading book of Bhakti Vinod, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Visvanath, very dangerous to read those books. Do you know why? Because you don't really know what is applying to your stage. In Rasa Vidya and Rasa Shastra, there are 64 types of poisons. And all these poisons can be nectars of immortality in alchemy and treatments. They can do miracle. But what it also says in Shastra, but if those poisons not properly applied by Vaidya, the physicians, or not properly taken by patient, they can poison and kill the patient. So pretty much like you're dealing with a super powerful medicine, which can give you tremendous side effects. Like in modern medicine, every medicine has side effect. But in rasa medicine, the most powerful medicine, the side effect could be also powerful. And it describes what could be. So you need to understand your dosage. You not only take the rasa life-giving medicine, also you have to follow the dosage and the time of medicine. And this is the art. See, that's why in Krishna consciousness is also like that. It's like nectar can become poison to your own mind. And if you overtake Krishna consciousness, this will not give you a good result. Like, a lot of people, they just want to chant, like ISKCON, they want to chant many rounds. But Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada didn't like that because they didn't thought these people qualified of doing that non-bhajan. But if devotees will serve under other Vaishnavas and participate in seva and develop proper mood of service, then naturally they will get attracted to holy name. So, some people say, well, you have to chant 64 rounds, you have to chant 16 rounds, you have to chant this, that. But somebody say, what is your attraction to holy name? What is your understanding of Krishna consciousness? What is your connections with devotees? That's why Sankirtan, collective chanting. See, because we get together, we serve, we listen Harikatha, we take prasadam. And individual chanting, yes, if you're on deep level of praying. If you're not getting into that organically, if you're trying to force yourself, and at this point your mind, your senses not properly receiving that will not give you the best result. That's why Srila Govinda Maharaj used to say, many people have beads, many people chanting, show me who has love of God. It's very simple. Govinda Maharaj would say, the meaning of chanting is to achieve love of God. Can you show me somebody who achieved love? It's just like meaning of business to make money. Can you show me a billionaire, millionaire? Oh, no, we're all trying to make business, but we all have credit, we're all poor. Okay, that means you have not achieved the inner result of business. When you get to wealth, means your product has been value appreciated and has consistent flow in the market. Yes, then consider you achieved the success of business. So something I share with you, something better than nothing. And the reason I share this with you, because some of you think, oh, when should I take initiation? Who should I approach for initiation? Really, you have to pray to the Lord, to Nitai Prabhu, like, show me my guru. You can't really understand who's your guru. Like I said, there's such a high people, but maybe connection with them will not be high for you. And like my personal thing, I'm so happy, my connection with Sridhar Maharaj happened through Govinda Maharaj. I think directly, I have no quality to approach Guru Maharaj. And neither Guru Maharaj would not be happy with everything I do. But for some reason, Govinda Maharaj has been very, very merciful to fall and soul like me. And that gave me an opportunity to grow spiritually, to appreciate Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Gurudev and other Vaishnavas. So, if I would come directly to that high level, the result may be not the same. It could be opposite result. So I could be having connection with great Vaishnava, but not using that connection because I don't have that quality. So at this very moment, we have no time for questions, answers, because it's already 56 minutes, few minutes left, and 10 o'clock I have to drive to LA, and then maybe in 10:15, 10:20, I'll start giving Russian class. So any questions or comments in a short way?
Maharaj, we have a question from Narottam Nitai Prabhu. He asking, if you're writing, Dear Maharaj, my Dandavat pranams to you. Lately, I'm asking Krishna for buddhi or intelligence in Krishna consciousness, so that I can be practical in service and understand more. Is this a good thing to pray for?
Krishna saying, Gita Duryona Hevaram Karma Buddhi Yoga Janajaya. Buddhi Yoga means spiritual intelligence come from service under guidance of Vaishnavi and scriptures. Yes, it is good if that Buddhi Yoga come make you to connect with devotees and see because like, okay, Krishna can send you intelligence, that's true, but where do you apply it? You have to be connect with devotees and say, how can I serve you? What is necessity of the community of devotees that I'm connected with? Maybe I have some skills of translator or transcriber or any other skills. So it's obviously, intelligent to inquire, how can I use my skills, my best skills into the service? That's one thing. And sometimes maybe you don't need your best skills, or maybe we need your skills of like cooking or distributing prasadam or cleaning. So you can come and say, oh, I'm the best singer, but Prabhu, we just finished the kirtan, we need somebody to help distribute prasadam. No, I'm a singer. You don't understand. My best quality is singer. Yes, that's true, but today prasadam is important. So working under guidance of Vaishnava is also part of intelligence, because maybe your skills are great, but maybe they can be utilized in some other time. And today, that's why when you see the servants of Krishna, gopis and manjaris and, the group of servants, they do anything what needed. Yeah, maybe they're best in dance, but it doesn't mean that they only dance 24 hours. They cook, they clean, they do all kind of service for Krishna. And when that opportunity comes to show the best of their ability and talent, they do that. But they don't say, you know what, in Vrindavan, I'm the best dancer, so I don't do anything else. I only dance because I'm best in dance. So that's ego, that's not intelligence. So the intelligence means beyond my ego that tell me I'm very good, I'm very qualified in that, but maybe I can go help. And you'll see, you'll get some inner satisfaction in your service. When you do service, inner satisfaction will come. It's an interesting way. Like Narottam Nitai, it's an interesting name. I don't know who gave that name. But Narottam Das Thakur was connected to some other devotees to Visvanath Chakravarti Thakura. And when Narottam Das Thakur born, Mahaprabhu felt that he needs somebody to continue Krishna consciousness in the same way. And he said, I feel that this devotee Narottam will be born, but I have to give him my own Krishna prem, that he can do Krishna consciousness in the same way I do. It's very interesting who our gurus were. Think of this, Mahaprabhu said, I need to find somebody who will do exactly what I feel and exactly the same power. And that's impossible because you're Supreme Lord. But there's nothing that Supreme Lord cannot do. So he said to River Padma, I will come to River Padma. And Mahaprabhu came to River Padma, bathed in Padma, and the goddess river appeared in front of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu said, you know who I am? She said, of course. Well, he said, well, here's what I did. I just bathed in your water and I give you the Krishna prem. And she was so ecstatic. She was like crying. And he said, remember when Narottam Das Thakur will come and bathe in your rivers after some time, you give him that prem back. Now you hold it. And Padma said, I'm very happy to do that service. I'm ecstatic to do that service. But how can I find out who is Narottam Das Thakur? Like, I cannot ask everybody's name. And Mahaprabhu said, yes, it's a good question. He said, so what do you feel now? She said, like, I feel now incredible ecstasy and love and Krishna Prem. He said, well, when that person will start bathing in your waters, that's what you're going to feel again. In other words, Narottam Das Thakur already had supreme love, but Mahaprabhu want to give him more love, extraordinary love, the love that, you know, he wants him to distribute to others. And the river Padma, when Narottam Das Thakur came to that river, she felt, again, same feelings as Mahaprabhu entering. And so she's like giving that special energy into Narottam Das Thakur. So after that, Narottam Das Thakur, you know, awake in a full way. Already he was full of Krishna Prema, but that was a special empowerment. And he started writing songs and making festivals. So he made Navadvip Dham Parikrama Vaishnava festival in Navadvip. He invited all the associates of Mahaprabhu who was alive after Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu and others were not already alive. So all these associates, they were very happy to come to hear pastimes of Mahaprabhu and see the places where Mahaprabhu played. But when they saw Kirtan of Narottam Das Thakur, they saw Mahaprabhu and Panchatattva and everybody from spiritual world dancing with him. Then they understand, okay, this boy is divine. On his Kirtan, Mahaprabhu personally dance. That means Krishna consciousness will be continued, will be spread. And now we don't have to worry about succession. Because every generation worried about who's going to be the next generation. But Mahaprabhu showed them, no, Narottam Das, he will be fine, etc. And then after Narottam, sometime Visvanath. We don't even know those gurus who's like Radharaman Chakravarti, other Chakravarti, but we know they were there. So sometimes it's a big wave, you know, sometimes some small waves coming, sometimes again, big wave, Sampradaya come. So some people say, well, who's going to be the next, you know, visionary of Chaitanya Saraswat Mat after Govinda Maharaj and Sridhar Maharaj? Yeah, maybe, you know, for several hundred years, maybe no one so exalted. Or maybe there'll be some super exalted soul. We don't know. We pray, you know, we hope. But what we know is we like to serve this mission and we like to connect with that mission. And, you know, we know the treasure, spiritual capital of Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj and all our Sampradaya. So we don't concern so much, you know, what is our own position, because we are concerned what's our own position in service. What did I do for Krishna? Did I try to please Krishna and Guru and Vaishnavas? Or I was just, you know, or I'm just like selfishly trying to inquire what Krishna can give to me. Just like this girl is very nice, but my question to this girl, are you willing to give yourself to Krishna fully and solely? Or you want to keep dating Krishna time to time? Then if you are on that stage, you may not need initiation. You're happy, you're chanting Hare Krishna, you're in association of devotees, you're fine. But if for some reason in your heart there inner necessity to surrender, then it's another story. So when I met my guru, I had inner necessity of surrender. That came to me. I'm already looking for a guru. I already understood, okay, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I'm reading book, but without spiritual master, I can't manage. Yes, I'm coming. All right, so already the car is there and they're waiting for me. And so very happy to see all of you, especially I see Braja, translator, I see Maria, I see Pavel, Narayani, Rasananda, Tarun, many Russian devotees. I see some English-speaking devotees. And Ramananda Das, Ramananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Ramananda is very jolly, shining. Also has no hair. He lost sent his hair different parts of the world to preach. So very happy to see some old friends and from different parts of the world. My English is not my perfect, I don't speak perfectly in English.
It's beautiful,
English is
Maharaj.
not my first
Very
language.
nice. You have to come to
Thank
San Jose
you.
sometime.
Complete
You have
to
go San
English.
Jose.
I'm too much happy, see my friend. I can speak like that. My life and affection to you, my friend. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Guru Maharaj ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai, Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Okay, guys, in 20 minutes I'll come up in Russian. As we get out of mountains, I can give a little class in Russian.
Jai Shri Avadhut Maharaj ki jai.